Hello,
I'm Karina.
and I'm Jamie.
Welcome to As Told by ADHD. This podcast is the brainchild of two best friends with ADHD who share a passion for learning and a knack for finding the most fascinating tidbits of knowledge.
Each week, we embark on a wild and hilarious journey of discovery as we dive headfirst into topics that pique our curiosity. From dark folklore to bizarre statistics, cultural ceremonies to famous dead people, we're here to entertain, educate, and tickle your funny bone.
This week on As Told by ADHD, I am going to bring you into part 2 of Infamous Con Artist. And the rumor behind mine is that he's still alive.
Crazy.
And he was born possibly in the late 1600s, early 1700s.
How could he be alive?
How can he do that? Let's get into the story then. We're just going to dive right in, okay? So usually we like to give backstory. We like to bring upbringing because Jamie mentioned in the previous episode that we both believe that the upbringing can explain a lot about the person, right? We don't even know what zodiac sign this man falls under, okay? We don't know a date. We know nothing. There's no confirmed birth record of who this man is, where he could have come from. So we don't really know how old he is during his time on Earth, during this story, and if he still exists, if he's still here, alive, walking.
Okay, before we get into it, where do you think he would be if he was still alive? Like where would he want to go?
I believe that he would be an enigma in some sort of government.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, we don't really,
Exciting.
not a president, not a dictator, not anything like that. No, like, he is just behind the scenes controlling.
Okay.
Either that or he's, like, some sort of, like, secret
What if he's Putin?
quadrillionaire. Huh?
What if he's Putin? We cracked the case, guys.
Case closed. All right, we'll see you guys next week. No, I'm just kidding. But this person, he doesn't have a first, middle, last name. All we know is he calls himself the Count of Saint Germain.
Okay.
He has a couple different other aliases. He also introduces himself as Count Bellamar and Chevalier Showing during his lifetime. Don't really know what that lifetime entails. Or, whatever. But I'm going to either call him Count or Saint Germain for this story because doing all those names, especially in French, is just not my thing. Okay? So, and German. So, this is supposed to be a con artist story. So, what he told people later in life is that he was born possibly 1691 or in 1712, and he allegedly was the son of Francis II Rakoczy, and that person was the Hungarian / Transylvanian prince. Okay?
Okay.
He doesn't bring it up really anymore after that, though. Like,
okay.
he told a few choice people, but during his lifetime, he didn't just brag about it. You feel me? So
This makes me think it's false, but also it would make me think he's false if he was, like, advertising it. But, like, why would you not be like, my daddy is actually really good and big person?
see,
I don't
that's
know.
what's going to be so important. Also, nailed the accent. I loved it. But
It sounded like Maura Rose
more,
from
more
Schitt's Creek.
But that is a good question because during this time, it's going to be a repeated thing. Having documentation is a really big deal, especially if you want to be taken seriously, okay? Like laying out the ancestral line, super important. Where you fall in it, so important, okay? So the fact that he was able to maneuver where he maneuvered, the fact that he didn't have documentation to back it up, nor did he talk about it, insane, right? Why I believe that he is a con artist. And con artist doesn't necessarily mean that they're scammers per se.
I feel like it's a different type of scamming.
Yeah, well, yes, but usually it involves some type of um monetary like transaction of some sort, whether it's goods, whether it's money, like actual money or stuff like that. That's usually what we think of when we think of con artists. But heavy manipulators, pathological liars.
That's what my last guy was. Like, he wasn't someone, like, he didn't want the money. He wanted the notoriety. He wanted to be seen for the good guy he was.
Yeah, and he did it the wrong way. So
The wrong way. But I also see, like, having that exchange of, like, social exchange is a type of con artistry, because you do want something out of it. You want to be seen as something that you're not. If you're successful with it, you're gaining networking, you're gaining, like, people you can call on if you need, like, you're getting more than just monetary things when you do it this way.
yeah. So the reason nobody questioned him is because he seemed really level-headed, okay? People thought he was extremely educated, especially when it came to music and science, and that he had advanced social confidence. He was multilingual. He could speak all the European
Okay.
languages, and
All?
he held all, and he just held himself well. Like, kind of like your con artist. Like, he was very confident when he spoke. He was very educated.
Okay, so then he has to be of some type of nobility, because you couldn't get that type of education unless you were nobility back then.
Or if you're just able to weasel your way in to have conversations with the right people and have access to the right things, right?
Do we know if he could read?
Yes, he could read.
Yeah, then I fully believe he's from some type of nobility.
But this isn't when he was a kid. He just appears in documentation. So the earliest real records of the Count of Saint Germain is in London in the 1740s, about 1743. He shows up adult age, okay? This is the first documentation we have of him. So wherever he was able to do XYZ, whether he stole the books, whether he overheard conversations.
But how would he be able to teach himself to read?
I mean, honestly, sometimes for some people it just clicks. Why do we have prodigies that can look and then mimic, like Charlie Puth, for example? He has the talent of being able to, what is it called?
Perfect pitch.
Perfect pitch, right? Even if you're trained in music, you could be trained for 10 years, you still could not have perfect pitch, and he's had it ever since he was a toddler. Sometimes things just click.
I feel like it's really different from being able to hear a note and know what it is versus, like, being able to look at a letter and know what it is. I feel like those are two very different things.
And I agree with you, but I also heavily believe that he was just able to get himself in places that a lot of normal people couldn't. And this is because if he did come from nobility, the things that he was able to do and get himself into, including the trouble, could have easily been avoided if he just showed his documentation and told them who he came from.
Okay, so right now, what I'm thinking, because I kind of want to go on this journey with you, Like, I want, like, okay, so right now I'm thinking he's either actually from nobility, but maybe his nobility, like, his family got disemboweled or something. So, like, that's why he was able to learn. Or he was maybe, like, a servant in a house of nobility, or, like, his parents
That's what
were.
I was thinking too.
And, like, maybe he was friends with one of the people that his parents served, and so, like, he grew up with this nobility. I don't know. That's where my head's at right now. But maybe that'll change.
So, again, his upbringing is a complete mystery. We have no idea We have no idea where he came from or who he is. We just have a couple documents saying that that's who he said his father was. So he shows up in London about 1743, which don't know where. He didn't just move into the neighborhood. He just kind of inserts himself in a place where it's at the time being documented about what's going on in the city, right? He claimed to be an adventurer, and he was already somehow very rich. So, did he steal in order to be able to provide himself a better life? I don't know. So, this socially savvy guy inserts himself into like elite circles claiming to be an alchemist. And it was said that he would pretend to have a secret, but he just would say, like, I have the secret for removing flaws in diamonds, and I can transmute metals, like a skill that is not a common one. People would have conversations with him, and when they would try to explain his personality, they said that he was mysterious, he was oozing charisma, and everybody wanted to know like who this mysterious man was. They would ask him on numerous occasions about his upbringing because that's how you assert your dominance, your eliteness, and he would deflect, not shut the conversation down per se, but he would make you more curious about something else, and he would float you into a different conversation.
And see, the thing is, I would have fell for that. I'm so easily distracted.
He just starts talking about diamonds. He's like,
thing.
oh, your diamond looks... Oh, if you leave that in the care of me, I shall
Oh my God.
remove all imperfections. Let me tell you how.
I hate this. I would have fallen for it, and I hate it.
Well, this is 1743. 2 years, really, 2-ish years, there's no documentation on him again. He pops back up in historical record in December of 1745. He gets arrested in London on suspicion of espionage.
Ooh. From where?
They don't really know. That's why
Okay.
he got arrested. They're just throwing that
Okay.
name out there because during this time, this is the era of the Jacobite Rebellion, and there was a lot of paranoia when it involved intelligence, especially war plans. So people were constantly hunting for spies, infiltrators, agitators. Pretty much anybody who was suspicious got arrested, and the count checked every box. And there was an eyewitness account from a man named Horace Walpole who wrote a letter describing Saint Germain as an odd man who had been in London for 2 years, refusing to say who he is, meaning his upbringing, of course, and a bizarre mix. He was like a bizarre mix of brilliant but ridiculous. Like he would say that he is all of these things, have nothing to show for it. And so that term for that is like ridiculous back in that time.
What's the likelihood that like he was just doing all of this for a bit?
I mean,
he
I
was like,
honestly think that he was trying to do what most con artists in the subject matter that we, talked about earlier. I think he just wanted recognition. And he also reminds me of Anna Delvey, which we kind of talked about in the last episode,
Mhm.
because he wanted to just sit in with the elites. He didn't want
Okay.
recognition for being his own person. He wanted everybody who was up here to think that he's up here.
Mhm.
He wanted to sit at the top. He wanted the throne. He didn't really want to take over a kingdom, though. So he just wanted to be like
puppet mastering the king or something.
Yeah, he just wanted to be up there. He just wanted to be as high as humanly possible without the responsibility of running a whole country or a kingdom or something like that. So he didn't go for mayoral roles. He didn't go for minister roles. He didn't go for king roles. He didn't go for any of that. He just wanted to sit nice and cozy and have everybody drooling over him.
That does sound like Anna Delvey.
Yeah. Except for he didn't really need money from other people in order to survive, because that's something Anna did. She would use her friends to pay for these trips and stuff like that and just be like, oh, but my daddy. Oh, but my daddy. So Anyways,
I'm Anna Delvey.
I'm Anna Delvey. So Horace continues to say that this man can sing, he can play the violin, he can compose music, he has a magnificent dressing style, he has riches like jewels, and he speaks multiple languages with strange accents, and that basically he acts like he's above explanation. Was he Italian? Was he Spanish? Was he Polish? Is he a runaway noble? Was he a rogue priest? Was he a musician? Was he a thief? Was he an aristocrat?
I'm not gonna lie. This man, he would have gotten my attention back then. I would have been so intrigued. I'd have been following this man around. I'd been like, I gotta know more. You gotta tell me so many things. And I would believe everything.
I need you to examine. Talk to me.
Look at my diamonds. I would, like, I have always, there's two types of people I've always been either intrigued with or attracted to. And it's mysterious people and nerds. And he sounds like both.
Yeah. Yeah, he was, and you know, the question of his upbringing comes up so much because he knows how to do everything. And not everything that's like, oh, I can piece that this type of craft is predominantly done in, Spanish countries, or this is done in Polish countries, or when he speaks, it doesn't sound like that's his first language. So maybe he's the twang of what he's saying sounds like he might be from here. No, he was a perfectionist. So nobody knew who this man was. And London couldn't decide whether he was a genius or a scam. So they arrested him.
He would have fooled me so good. He would have fooled me. If you're smart and you say smart things to me, I'd be like, you're right.
And that's how he was able to gain so much attention. And yes, it's bad in this case right now because he got arrested, but he was, like I said before, the term I've said before, he was an enigma. He really was. Once arrested, though, especially on suspicion of being a spy, you're more than likely going to die.
Okay, how to get out of this situation?
They do not let you go, but they let him go.
He talked his way out of it.
Mm-hmm. And people believe that he used his suave way of talking to get out of being executed. Because they're not really trials back then. They're just like guilty. Tell me who your father is. Show documentation.
Okay, if it were me and I was him and they let me go, I'd start telling people, oh, my daddy contacted him. My daddy contacted the king.
My daddy from Transylvania.
No, Papa.
Papa.
Papa sent a letter and set me free.
So what do you think that he did after he got out of jail?
I think he went to a different country.
He disappeared.
To a different country?
He did. I don't know where he went exactly, but the next factual documentation said that he appeared in 1748 in France.
Okay.
He appeared at the French court of all places.
This was a wild time for France, too.
Yeah, and it gets worse. So he, of course, becomes the talk of the town again. But this time, it's politic level curiosity. Because in the French court, everything is ego, alliances, secrets, luxury, and probably a hub for scheming. So he obviously, he fit right in. The Count fit right in.
From what I know about the French Revolution and everything, most definitely. I definitely can see him fitting in really well there. Because, there was so much corruption in that time period.
There was. And there was reasons for it, but at the same time, they're not super justifiable, even if they did think that it was justifiable at that time. So he wasn't super involved in politics whenever he first got there. He was an educated speaker, but everybody wanted him around because he was strategic. He was really smart. And that means that he could be valuable. So valuable, in fact, that he caught the eyes of King Louis XV.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
He got really friendly, buddy with the king.
Too many Louis. Way too many Louis.
That's way too many Louis. But he got super friendly, and they became super friends. And the king set up a laboratory, in the kingdom for him, in the palace for him, for the Count of Saint Germain, and he would teach him about dyes, like the color dyes, and the king would play and entertain himself by experimenting with these dyes. So
Honestly,
while the king was playing, let's see what red and blue makes in the laboratory, the Count of Saint Germain became friends with Madame de Pompadour, who was the king's mistress.
That sounds familiar. I think I've heard of her.
So eventually, the king trusted the count enough that he thought that he could use the count's knowledgeable skills to work for him. He doesn't do anything with the madam. He just tries to become really good friends.
Like, oh no, we're about to have some...
he wasn't trying to die here. He wasn't trying to do none of that, okay? He just wanted to be... He wanted everybody to want him, which means protection for him. Mm-hmm. Which means alliance for him.
Well, I was thinking, like, he's got this king wrapped around his little finger, right?
I mean,
so I was thinking,
probably was just like, oh.
Same.
But then she probably was just like, oh, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you have that I can benefit from. Talking about family status and stuff like that.
Right.
So.
But I was thinking, like I could imagine a world, this definitely did not happen, but I could imagine a world where this guy could talk the king and being like, I don't think she's that good, and like she doesn't seem like she knows what she's doing in bed. Like let me teach her some things for you. Like that's I could see him doing
wild. I mean, it could have, and it just not being documented. True. I mean, like, this is
he
all
seems like
stuff
that kind of guy.
Is documented, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is all stuff that is completely documented because I didn't really want to go into theories because it got crazy. People, like, towards the end, people just started thinking outrageous things about this man. So the King Louis wanted the Count of Saint Germain to work for him. So he employed him to do secret missions carrying secret messages. And there's no real documentation to give concrete evidence of what those messages pertain to. But the courts were notorious for having like unofficial men back then to transport messages, test negotiations, and just meddle, right? There were later reports that he was involved in attempted peace feelers and political maneuverings, but he was a messenger, negotiator, and a probe, pretty much. Just trying to be like, is the water hot? Oh, King, yeah, the water's too hot. It's too hot right now, you know? Or it's just right, you know? So, a couple of years later, in the 1750s, Saint Germain's presence in the French orbit becomes more established. And this is also when his reputation splits into two different versions, depending on like who's telling the story. But this could become a problem because since he was like this cool, smart individual, some people either loved him or began to think that this guy was dangerous because he had access to the king, he had influence with the king, and he had no background. Everybody in the court tried to dig on this guy, and there was nothing to dig.
That's crazy.
Other than up his diamonds because he's rich.
He's digging his diamonds.
Shine bright like a diamond. Or like me.
I like how they Germain.
I love that we just keep tucking our hair. So this next part of the timeline I'm going to talk to you about is between 1756 and 1763. So the 7 Years' War is underway. France is under strain, intense pressure, and the politics are just getting uglier. And so the Count became more important than ever because secret missions were the desperate last resort to winning the war and salvaging any type of peace. Because right now they're bleeding money, they're losing influence, they're losing patience. And so they send Saint Germain to The Hague, which is a major political and financial crossroads meeting place. This is where deals can be floated around, where governments are talking, where money can be moved. And the Count was sent here by Louis XV, and the Count believes that it is a great idea to show up to The Hague as he showed up everywhere. He tried his normal tactics, and you would think that people would immediately think that this guy is a spy.
Yeah.
No, they loved him. They absolutely loved
it's
him.
always
They ate
those
him up.
types of people. Like, I'm curious his tactics, because, like, I feel like depending on where you are, what culture you're in, like, some cultures, you walk up, you are the loudest person in the room, you're the most respected. Some cultures, you walk up, you're the quietest person in the room, you're the most respected. So I'm curious of, like, where he landed on that spectrum of, like how much he interacted or held back.
Ah, yeah, it's one of those fly on the wall situations where I would
Mhm.
die to be there. Like, not literally, but it would be so
If
cool
I
to
was
be
a
there.
if I was a fly, I'd probably like it there because it probably smelled.
Plenty of food.
Plenty of food. Yum.
Gross. Anyways, so they ate him up. They ate this guy up, okay? He was even able to stay in Amsterdam with the members of the Hope banking family, who was one of the most powerful financial houses in Europe. Okay? A family like that doesn't usually host random wanderers and alchemists unless the guest has either a genuine background, like family, or in his case, a super convincing story.
It probably also helped him that he was being vouched for by the King of France.
Exactly. So he didn't lie. The Saint Germain, he didn't lie about being sent by the king, but he tries to raise money, which is a little bit hard because it's like, what can you give me? What can, the king give me? And money is tight right now. But he would use his jewels, his diamonds, as collateral. But showing up as the Count of Saint Germain, who has ties to royal chambers but has no papers, that rose question marks. So he ends up running into a problem that he really can't charm his way out of. When you're doing like war diplomacy, you have to have heavy incentive to take a deal, right? It requires heavy legitimacy behind what you are saying and what you're trying to negotiate. So he gets rejected because diplomats refuse to treat him as an official negotiator. And that makes sense because if you're a rival power, you don't want to negotiate peace through a man who just says he's authorized and you have no idea who he actually is linked to. Like, yes, he's linked to the king, but he could be a spy that the king has fallen for. They want to know who he is. They want to know who he came from so that way they can do their own vetting before they make any deals. This stuff took months. It took years, right, to make deals. And that is just kind of how it went. So the fact that they would take this time to try to get to know who this man is and they're coming up dry, I don't blame them for refusing. I really don't. So he fails to produce results and satisfy the French. And so rumors start swirling around about him being a liar and only looking out for himself. So they were asking questions like, is he trying to run his own game? Could he be a spy? Like, what is this guy's deal? What is it that he wants out of this? So the king slowly started to lose power and official ministers gained power, especially the Duke of Choiseul, Antony Francois. So he was steering foreign policy at this time. And he is the kind of man who would not enjoy having a mysterious freelancer roaming around Europe claiming to act for the king. Because Saint Germain's whole advantage was that he could bypass the normal chain of command. If the king liked him, he didn't need a minister's approval. And that kind of access is a direct threat to any official who's trying to run or save the country. So the air around Saint Germain completely changes. In 1763, the 7 Years' War ends, and France's defeat reshapes everything. So the Count's court era ends, and he slowly starts to disappear, which he's pretty good at, right? He did it right before he was either exiled or executed. Like, he probably would have been arrested, kicked out, or killed. Or killed and then hang his body outside of the kingdom, like, lines or something.
I'm curious where he's keeping his money.
Right? But I
Like-
feel like he has to have some on him so that he can just
Obviously,
be like,
yeah.
use this as collateral, you know?
Right.
Here's my money.
But do you think maybe he had like his own like little safe house somewhere where he kept like most of his riches?
Oh, for sure, but nobody knew where it was. Every single time he disappeared literally without a trace. Not with like the house looking ransacked and ready to leave and he took all his belongings. No, it would look like nobody lived there in the first place. It was very
That's-
neat, very tidy. You didn't know anything about, like, if you were able to figure out where he lived on top of that too. How he was able to not be followed and found wherever he was residing as well. Like, this man was really good at disappearing.
I do think unless you're actively trying to follow someone, people are pretty oblivious. Like, I feel like humans are instinctually like self-orbiting,
Oh, orbiting.
where like they really can only like obviously not every human, but I feel like it's a natural instinct for us to like just pay attention to our immediate vicinity and like our immediate objectives. Whereas like think about like a snake or something. They're always slithering on the ground waiting for vibrations, you know?
Yeah. But I feel
So-
like so many people were curious about him and were jealous or, again, curious about his ties to the king. I'm pretty sure somebody had their errand boy, you know, whether it's a normal errand boy for milk, they probably paid him a coin or two to go follow this man around to gain something, because he was in a heavily politicized, backstabbing environment.
Right.
So
I mean, also, if you're aware of the type of vibe that you're giving off, if you're aware of like, people think I'm a spy in most places I go, you're gonna be hyper aware of your surroundings.
true.
As a woman in today's age, like, I'm hyper aware of my surroundings majority of the time, unless I'm with somebody that I feel safe with. But I can imagine, like, I can like hear when somebody's like, if I speed up and somebody else speeds up behind me, like if I'm like walking and their footsteps speed up with me, or if I slow down and they slow down, I could hear that and know I'm not going directly to my destination. So like I
Yeah.
can easily, especially back then, their shoes were like click, 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 click.
But I mean, he probably did, but like juking them out, you know, or waiting for them to like whatever. I mean, that would be exhausting if you think about it too.
I mean,
but he always
you could go to a pub,
seemed true.
just hang out, and then or like
True.
go to a very busy area and like hang out for a little bit, and then like slip away when you like are like I can think of several ways of how to get out of that type of situation.
True. But, you know, I know that knowledge, he was super knowledgeable, but I feel like that still only goes so far. But I mean, at the same time, he could have spent his entire life up until we meet him, you know, perfecting the trade, you know? So, of course, like I said, he disappears again without a trace, and he pops up again about 10 years later. People claimed that they've seen him again, and he looks the exact same as he did 10 years ago. Now, me, for
Where are we?
example, we're in the 1770s right
Yeah,
now.
but where in the world?
We're in France still.
You're
This
still
is
in
10
France?
years
Okay.
later. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know where he went, but he came back. Okay.
Okay.
So me, for example, I look the exact same as I did in high school. Like my hair is different, maybe my complexion is different, but I get told I do not look my age probably at least once a day, right? The youngest I've gotten was like 17. The oldest I've gotten is 25. You
Mm-hmm.
know? So, which I'm neither. So, the fact that they were like 10 years, he looks no different at all. In the 1770s or in the 1700s in general, people aged hard. Okay? Health was
Well,
crap.
caveat to that. Hard laborers and people who worked in the sun aged hard. People who stayed inside, who weren't like in the sunlight a lot, or like people who um lived a more lavish lifestyle, they didn't age as fast as hard laborers.
But they also were saying all documentation was like everybody aged. Like you would be able to tell of age somehow
Mm-hmm.
because health in
Right.
general during this time was bad. So
True.
whether
But
you lost
also,
weight, whether you develop joint problems early on and stuff like that,
same.
but like that's what I'm saying. Like
Right.
10 years in that time frame, everywhere I read said it was so rare that you could not tell age.
Okay. Well, I mean, one, it could be good genes.
Mhm.
Two, it could easily be like certain areas in the world. I feel like depending on diet, depending on like genetics, like I said, it it really just maybe there's like a certain part of the world that he's actually from where they have a specific diet that he's accustomed to that doesn't age him and keeps him healthy, you know?
Yeah,
Like, it could easily be anything. Because we also
it
don't know where
could.
he's from.
No, and it 100% could. But that
Or
didn't
he's
stop the
immortal.
rumors from like that didn't stop the rumors from spreading though.
Right.
Because where he showed up, people were like, "We know this man, but
Mhm.
he still looks really young. Nothing
Mhm.
has changed about him. His height hasn't changed. His demeanor hasn't changed. He has not a single wrinkle on his face."
Okay, but like, would your height change in 10 years?
Well, we don't know how old he is.
That's
And
true.
yeah, it could due to multiple bone related, like you said,
Right.
laborious, jobs and stuff like that. People literally can't stand up straight. They can't extend their legs, as far anymore. Or
Mhm.
depending on how old he might have told people, people do start. People, I mean, it's not like a full on shrink, but they say that as you get older, you will kind of just, you
Yeah,
know.
just from standing as much.
Mhm. Mhm. So then we don't hear anything else from him again until he finds his way and weasels his way into the court of another kingdom. The kingdom where one Marie Antoinette would reside.
Fun.
And it was only brief. He
Really? She
wanted
was in that
people.
time period? I thought she
Yeah,
was
this is
way before that.
1774. This is 1774. Okay?
In my mind, she was like 1300s for some reason.
I
But
mean,
also, I'm not an expert on her.
well, she was graced with the count's presence for a very brief time.
She was
Okay?
graced.
So, we know Marie Antoinette, the ever anxious and paranoid Marie Antoinette, kind of crazy. He used his talents, his suave, to have a word with the queen. And he warns her. He warns that the monarchy is in danger and that a catastrophe is coming and that she needs to take it seriously, telling her to look out for the Versailles. And she began to look at him as this almost like supernatural prophet. Why? She heard the rumors of the townsfolk, and then he was nowhere to be seen after meeting her.
He just disappeared.
Yep.
He was like, hey, bye.
Of course, like, it wasn't like like, it was brief enough for like the time, how time passes, you know, back then. But he tells
Honestly,
her this. He
I would
sticks
believe
around.
it.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Huh?
I said I would believe that. If I was her, I'd be like, he didn't stick around to like be my friend or like climb ranks. He told me and he left. That he's for real, and I'm scared.
Yeah.
Like,
but he stuck around long enough to kind of talk to her a little bit, of course, because he had to, you know, he couldn't just come up to her without her just being like, ew, you know?
Ew.
Ew. So he sticks around long enough to hear, you know, his stories of travel and who he's rubbed shoulders with. Then he tells her this, and then so
It's gone.
years pass. This is 1779, and he was said to arrive in the region of Schleswig, and he meets someone who is basically the perfect match for him. Not a
Like
woman.
what kind of match?
Friendship match.
Okay.
Like if you were to say, I'm friends with this person, they would be like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's this person that he meets.
Who is this?
This is Prince Charles of Hesse-Kassel. Prince
Another
Charles
prince.
is powerful, he's wealthy, he's deeply interested in mythicism, and he really, really, really likes unusual, weird knowledge. He really loves it.
Same. Oh my gosh.
So-
I would have been good friends with him.
So Saint Germain, being him, as always, shows up with exactly what people like and that love most. He shows up with confidence, mystery, and the feeling that he knows things that other people don't, which pulls people in. So,
Confidence can get you anywhere.
it really can. It really can. After the videos you showed me last week, just like straight face, eye contact. Like, I can't even hold eye contact like that. I really can't.
I don't like holding eye contact. One of my least, I will hold it, but I don't like it. One of my least favorite things is when somebody who's like talking, they're just staring. And they just stare and they just keep talking and they're talking like this and they barely blink and you're like, oh my God, are they ever gonna blink or look away? Do I look away? What do I do?
I've been intimidated.
I hate when people do that.
Staring me down like that.
It bothers me to no end. But I don't back away from a challenge, and it feels like a challenge. So
oh
I'm like,
my gosh,
I'm like, me too. I can do it too.
I can do that. I can speak monotone.
Anyway,
yes, I agree with you. Well, why do you think that way? You know, I heard in this one video, actually, I read this one thing, and it proves everything you just said to be false. Please elaborate.
anyway,
That's you. I was impersonating you. But anyways.
Do I do that?
No, like if you were going to take
like,
that
oh, God.
challenge. If you were like to take that challenge, you know, with...
No, it's usually like when they're talking, I'll just do this. Because they refuse to look away from me. And so I'm just like... Because like, what else? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What do I do in that situation? Because like, they're looking at me regardless. So
yeah.
I'm going to make them as uncomfortable as they're making me.
And that, like, I was literally like, I need to look away. But anyways, back to Saint Germain. So accounts describe Saint Germain as impressing the prince and claims that he had invented a method for coloring cloth, basically advanced dyeing techniques to get certain colors that were really hard to obtain. Charles, of course, is intrigued enough that he sets him up with a place to work, another laboratory. Wow! So Saint Germain is installed in an abandoned... Wow!
Sorry, that was just really funny.
Wow! But he sets him up in a factory an abandoned factory in a place I can't pronounce, but I'll just put the name on the screen right here, right? It's a German word. And the prince supplies him with materials so that he could develop the projects that he assigns him, especially pertaining to like dyes and stuff like that. And this is where the alchemist's reputation becomes less like gossip and hearsay and just something he's spewing, and more of like a daily routine. So he's showing proof of like his skills and stuff like that. So the two spend time experimenting, working on materials, trying to make colorful gemstones, and just a bunch of all the chemically things, okay? So he earns protection from the prince because he's valuable to the prince. He was practically a long-term project that was funded by the prince, who wanted to obtain unobtained knowledge. And the townsfolk, the kingdom, started spreading rumors that he's actually working on immortality elixirs, magic, and developing a secret society of immortality.
Hell yeah.
So he was only letting the people of the people in to this club. The club.
That's what I want my legacy to be. She figured out immortality. Where is she now? I don't know.
She could be anywhere. But no one ever saw him except for maybe once every few years, where again he would look exactly the same, which didn't make sense because people said that he didn't really eat. They said that he didn't really sleep. If he was out and about and they were all out for a meal, or people wanted to watch this magical person, they said that he would go all day without a single drink, without a single speck of food. They said that they would see him at all hours of the night. Like he had energy like none other. So this obviously grew the speculation of what he could be, right? So on top of all this stuff, he's not eating, he's not drinking, he doesn't age, he has unbelievable riches with ties to no real family. They thought that he already obviously had to be immortal, and he's just making more people immortal. And back then, what's the immortal in stories of this time? Vampires. So obviously he had to be a vampire. Well, on February 27th, 1784, while Prince Charles is away, Saint Germain was said to pass away. His death is recorded. They said he was buried a few days later, but the cause of his death was completely unknown. And if you've been listening to the legend this whole time, the man who never ages, who can create jewels, who always has secret wealth, you'd expect his death to leave behind something dramatic, right?
Question.
Yes.
From where we started in London to now, how many years has it been?
It has been 1784, and our story starts, because I was saying a lot of numbers, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
In 1740s. So this is 40-something years.
40 years. Okay, and he's not aged. That's crazy.
Yeah, they said
And
that
he's
he
an
hadn't
adult.
aged.
I mean,
And he was
could have
adult
been
when
like,
he was recorded.
he could have been like
first time.
16 that looked older when he...
But people don't finish hitting maturity. Like, men don't finish hitting maturity until they're 21.
I mean, even if he was like 21 and he kept going into like, and then it's like 40 years later, he would really only be like 50-ish. That's not right. Is that right?
Well, he wouldn't have been at
60.
age. No, I mean, that's a long life in the 1700s, actually, if you really want to think about it.
Mhm.
So, but they thought that there would be something. We would hear something, like a hidden trove,
Mm-hmm.
or a coded letter, or a vault of diamonds.
Maybe he had a secret family.
Exactly.
And they took all of it.
So this is the thing. The kingdom had and technically owned or held, not owned, held everything of value that belonged to the count, right? The records I read summarized about his belongings, his clothing, personal items, cash receipts, jewels, all of this stuff. There would be a notice posted, and they would post it. They would take, people would ride to a neighboring kingdom, spread the news, because again, they don't know who this man is, right? He's a friend of the prince. The prince wants, probably to meet his family or something like that, right? Because he's dead. And they spread the news literally as far as they possibly can within a reasonable time to come collect his belongings. Nobody arrived. So
they
they
have
sent
his
out
body?
another. Huh?
Where's his body?
Well, it's said to be buried in
Do we know that though?
in the prince's kingdom.
Have we
No.
have we dug it up? Who do we talk to get
I know,
it
right?
back soon?
So after they couldn't find any family to come claim his belongings, they send out another notice about auctioning off his effects. That would draw a lot of people in, you think? It didn't, other than a few fakes, right? And this, you would think, would ruin the myth of who he is, right? Kind of like if he was who he said that he was, somebody eventually would have come forward who knew of him to the point to where they can be like, okay, you were like a brother to him, or you were a cousin. You can tell us who his parents are, what kingdom. Like, the prince knew a lot about him, but he couldn't really, like, nobody who came forward could explain anything about this man enough for them to be like, okay, you can have
from his
effects.
family
And
That's
stole all their jewels? Maybe.
stole all their jewels. And he was
Maybe.
disowned. And maybe he was who he said he was, but he was disowned.
He could have been. But the most dangerous thing, I think, about Saint Germain was, like, obviously not, science, because it wasn't really anything crazy other than apart from rumors, but people could never really prove what he was. So when someone like that dies, people don't really accept it. So they decided that the dead man wasn't really him.
Okay.
Some believe they staged it. Some insisted that he obviously couldn't die at all because, like, oh, look at this man. And that's why the story doesn't necessarily end in 1784 with his death. Saint Germain's reputation was built on a bunch of unanswered questions and all of this stuff. They think that he is this supernatural being. So the legend is, soon after he dies, people are saying that they saw him in a bunch of neighboring kingdoms and other countries.
How do they even know what he looks like?
I don't know. They said he was often placed in Paris. It's where they saw him a lot. Especially during the Revolution era chaos.
What side do you
we'd
think
call
he would
it.
have been on? He would have chose the winning side. He would have been like, I know who's going to win this fight, and I'm going to go help them.
I mean, yeah. But I don't really know how he was in, like, wartime, strategies and stuff. I really don't know. That's what's so interesting about him, is that I want to know how he was able to get an in with these people on such a deep level. Like, there had to be something he wasn't super savvy in, right? Decades later, in spiritual and occult circles, Saint Germain stops being treated like this mysterious man in history and starts being treated like a continuing presence, someone who's still alive, still guiding events, still appearing to the right people at the right time, and even theosophical writers and later in like certain traditions claims that he was encountered long after 1784 and even into the 19th century. Some say that he appeared to prominent occult figures and spoke like someone with endless time. So the vampire came and visited him. So, and I mean, in all, whether, it happened or not, he became a symbol. He's a traveler who has endless knowledge. He's a secret keeper. He's the man who can't die because he was never really explained in the first place.
Do you think if he's alive today, he understands technology?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Like I said, he
Well-
probably has a secret in with the government, and the government is literally years and years and years in advance when it comes to technology. Like, we can't even really comprehend. Well, I can't, because I consider myself an average knowledge-based human being. Like, I can't comprehend what they've accomplished. So,
True. Okay. This is the point where I say, if you are out there and you are the Count and you want to talk to me, I won't give you any blood. I won't do it. But I love to chat. I think we can have a fun conversation. That's all. Thank you.
she said, that's all. Thank you.
But you can't have my blood. You cannot do it.
No sacrifices here. None.
Mm-mm.
None. I will
But
make sure my hair is even plastered down with a freaking swimming cap. You ain't getting nothing. Not a thing.
You can get my knowledge. I could maybe teach you some stuff. Maybe I know something you don't know. And you
I know something
obviously
you
know
don't
something
know.
I don't know.
I know something. Apparently, he knows everything that we don't know.
Yeah.
He knows it all. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's the Count of Saint Germain.
Yeah. And
What did we
exactly, I wanna
learn?
talk to you.
Not much.
Nothing. Maybe vampire, maybe not.
Maybe vampire, maybe immortal, maybe just dust somewhere.
Where is he? I don't know.
Where did he go? Nobody knows.
Damn. That's a good story, but also like too much unsolvedness for me.
And that's why we separated it the way that we could, because I was
Mhm.
just like, Jamie, you're just not going to be satisfied, I don't think.
Mm-mm. Okay. If you're an archaeologist, contact us. I need to know what are the steps to be able to get him exhumed so we can test his DNA to see if the bones in the casket match DNA found from descendants of who he was claiming to be. That's what I want.
But we need you to do it for free.
Yeah.
Because we're poor.
Listen, we can crowdfund this shit.
Help me,
Everybody,
I'm
let's
poor.
everybody. If everybody gives us like $2, right? And then
we can have all
we'd
the
have $82.
answers. We would. This is
All of
correct.
our subscribers.
All of our subscribers. Actually, I mean, we're at 40 subscribers. So
41.
Oh, 41! We're at 41 subscribers.
Hi, guys.
And to people, they're just like, haha. Oh, you're a little
Oh,
YouTuber.
that's cute.
Oh.
Well,
to us, that's a big freaking deal. Okay?
it's a big,
big
deal.
deal.
And I think every person is special and beautiful. And I think all of our subscribers that we have so far, I want to thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
amazing.
Thank you. Because that means that we are at least entertaining enough.
Mm-hmm.
Are we telling everything 100% factually correct? Probably not.
Probably not.
Are we leaving out some details? Sometimes.
Are
Is
we
it
having
intentional?
fun?
No.
Are we having fun?
But are we
Absolutely.
having fun? Absolutely. Are we growing together? Absolutely. Are we
Are we
laughing
learning?
together? Absolutely. Are we learning anything?
Sometimes. I'm learning a lot.
I am learning a lot too. I will say that. I am also learning a lot. But
I
we are so
think
grateful
we should
for you
always keep
guys.
learning. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. We're so grateful. You guys make us so happy.
Mhm.
And thank you.
And you're really cool, and you're
Really
really
cool.
smart, and you're really
Mhm.
beautiful,
Mhm.
and drink your water.
And do something nice for yourself.
Yes.
We don't really know what it is that you like to do for yourself, and that would be something that we eventually hope that people will answer in the comment section. Maybe we can just
Yeah.
all write down the thing that we did for ourselves the week before. And that can just be like an ever-going thing so that people can
Mhm.
get ideas or get inspired or feel like they can relate to what their favorite thing is with other people in the comments.
Mhm.
So that's something that I actually really hope that we can like kind of kick off is what is the thing that you did for yourself the week prior. And
Okay.
maybe we can do like a weekly little pop-up comment of what somebody did nice for themselves the
Ooh.
week before. And we
Yeah.
can like start doing that. But we have to get commenters first. So
Yeah, so just comment. We talk back. Somebody commented on one of our videos, and we responded multiple times.
we did. One of our
So,
shorts.
yeah. I think today the kind thing I will be doing for myself is I'm gonna go be a floor person. And if
We
you don't know
love
what
a
a
floor
floor person
person.
is, it's when you just lay on the floor with your feet up and you're just relaxing.
Just
It
exist.
stretches your lower back. It's pretty nice, actually.
It's actually super good for you. You can Google it.
But also, I have a pop socket, so I can't drop my phone in my face.
Her
Unless,
phone won't smack her face.
and yes, I have smacked my face several times with my phone in the past before I got my
Hence
pop
the
socket.
purchase of the pop socket.
Not sponsored.
I think the nice thing I'm going to do for myself is, well, I do have to go to the grocery store, but I might go get myself my favorite drink beforehand.
Heck yeah. And what's your favorite
Yeah.
drink?
My favorite drink right now is a vanilla matcha. They're super good. Iced vanilla matcha.
I love getting an iced vanilla or an iced matcha with 1 pump of vanilla and almond milk. Delicious.
I haven't had the almond milk, but I do one
The
pump of
almond
vanilla.
milk
How are we
changes
the
it.
same? I didn't even know that about you.
I love matcha.
No,
I
about
would
like what
never
your
make it.
favorite matcha drink is. Because that's my favorite
Coffee.
matcha drink right now. That's actually crazy.
I've been drinking that for like 4 years.
And then
It's like I
during
don't want coffee.
it's like the summer, last summer, my favorite coffee place introduced it. And it was really, 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 really good. And so I've just kind of been on that kick.
I recommend the almond milk because the almond milk like enhances it. Like it just adds like a subtle almondy flavor. It's delicious.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to do that. Tell us what you guys are gonna do nice for yourself this week, or what you guys did nice for yourself previously. And goodbye. Goodbye.
I did a little harmony. Put those together. Should harmonize.
Yeah, we probably
Maybe it
should
won't.
do it together. Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week.